start putting food beds in here, peppered in there.
This garden,
It was a Charlie Brown bush 2 years ago.
this church,
So it has to be very intentional what you plant.
is a special place for James Kilby. You see, he not only makes sure things are growing out here, he ensures the congregation at the Unitarian Church of Brevard is growing too, making sure it's a home, a place of solace for everyone.
I think if you're coming at it from an inclusive level, right, that's the right way. And if you can find something to include everybody, then you're going to succeed. And that's definitely what we're trying to do here.
Especially for students in Brevard County Public Schools. The parental rights and education law, he says, is having a lasting impact on them. Kilby feels his church is a safe place for families in need of guidance, specifically for LGBTQ students feeling singled out.
My concern is it's hard enough to navigate high school as a teenager, but if you have things like LGBT on top of that and you don't have that support system in the public school systems, we're going to have a lot of mental health problems.
Do you see a lot of those students, a lot of those families, do they turn to you all as a resource, as an outreach for help?
I think we're associated with a lot of people with a lot of resources. I think we're an ally in the community to these students.
A community of students seeing impact nationwide. We found a national survey on LGBTQ youth mental done last year by the Trevor Project shows 45% of LGBTQ youth seriously considered attempting suicide in the past year.
They're confused and they feel frustrated and they feel as though their hands are tied, that when it comes to supporting certain students, they don't know what to do. And that's sad.
And the reach of this legislation may soon go even further. House Bill 1223, making its way through the legislature right now, would expand the parental rights and education law through the 8th grade. Doesn't stop there, it goes even further. If passed, the bill will bar teachers and school employees from using students' preferred pronouns unless they correspond with their biological sex at birth. Representative Randy Fine of Brevard County is a co-sponsor of this new bill.
We believe in biology. There are boys and there are girls. And that's biology. You don't get to choose what you are what you are.
Fine is also pushing legislation that would block minors from getting treatments for gender reassignment, citing medical and mental harm to youth.
The research shows that someone who goes through this is 19 times as likely to commit suicide within 10 years after getting these transitions.
We asked Representative Fine's office about this research, requesting documents that show these statistics or speaks to what he's alleging. A day later, they sent us the findings of a study conducted in Sweden. The study, completed back in 2011, took a deep look at over 300 people who had gone through sex reassignment from 1973 to 2003. And that study found that while death rates are higher for those who have gone through sex reassignment procedures, it still does help alleviate gender dysphoria. The study also suggests continuing care for patients beyond the transition process itself to improve psychiatric and somatic care after sex reassignment. Licensed mental health therapist Teresa Holt says while she is taking on more LGBTQ students as clients from Brevard County Public Schools, it's more so because of confusion from new laws impacting LGBTQ youth.
Well, we need clarity from, the law itself, from how it's supposed to be implemented.
Teresa says within the last year, she is taking on younger clients from Brevard County schools who are LGBTQ and in search of someone to talk with.
I've noticed a lot more anxiety, depression with this population because they're feeling very unwelcomed and uncared about because they don't have the same resources. They don't feel comfortable going to talk to someone.
That's inside the school building. Out in the community, James says students can turn to them and those who they trust most. He says he's here, along with congregation members, to be a calming voice when students are weathering life's storms. He says the best way to help them is to listen and let them in.
The more inclusive we are, the more accepting we are of each other's differences, the more we embrace diversity, the stronger we are as a community.
Take a look here along the shore at the Grand Coquino's condos in Daytona Beach Shores. Things almost look back to normal, but if you look closer, you can see remnants of a storm that nearly washed away Jeff Sussman's retirement dream.
So that's what was exposed under the building. We had to evacuate. This is after Nicole. We had to evacuate the day before Nicole hit because our temporary seawall was already destroyed.
Jeff says for about a month, he and others had to stay with friends or in a hotel. They were not allowed back in the building until it was deemed safe. His retirement dream of living on the beach, now a nightmare.
Definitely was not in my retirement plan.
Jeff is the treasurer of the 5-person HOA board at Grand Coquina. They represent the people living in the 109 units. The board going back and forth with the State Department of Environmental Protection for permits, something they desperately want done before another hurricane threatens Florida. But they are hitting a few snags.
We had intended to physically start construction on March 1st, and we are just getting started now.
Jeff and the board at Grand Coquina say they actually started this permit process back in December. They didn't hear back from the Department of Environmental Protection until the first week of May.
Now, DEP was supposed to simplify the permitting process for the permanent seawalls.
Has it been simplified?
It has been an absolute nightmare from day one. Seems like every time we make some headway, they come up with another obstacle to slow us down.
Initially, the seawall at Grand Coquina was 8 feet. Shortly after construction started, DOP approved a permit for a 12-foot seawall. Engineers working the project say a 15.5-foot or 16-foot wall would be better should a storm as strong as Hurricane Ian come through again. Still, at last check, no approval for a 16-foot wall.
Now, next door, the condo, the Marbella, their wall is going to be essentially 16 feet high. We share an adjoining wall, an adjoining seawall, so common sense would dictate that ours should be the same height as theirs.
We first reached out to DEP by email and phone on May 11th. A spokesperson telling me they would reply to my email copying the appropriate person who could answer our questions. We got that email that same day. Then on May 12th and 15th, we followed up with a phone call. No answer. I sent a follow-up email on May 16th. Someone with DEP finally getting back to me asking when was our story deadline.
What do you think the holdup here is?
I honestly don't have a clue what's holding it up. I really don't. Is it going to take another condo collapse before someone actually wakes up and starts, responding to our needs here?
In Daytona Beach Shores, Curtis McLeod, Spectrum News.
When varied vendors offer up flavors, sights so vibrant, the invitation is organic, but no accident that the first AAPI Heritage Night in Orlando happened here. In the parking lot of a restaurant, long the dream of Lord for Lalakan, who goes by Chef Lo.
Probably since the age of 16, I wanted to be a chef, but being Asian, you're supposed to go to college.
Cooking for friends, frequent trips to the Philippines kept that fire burning.
It made me understand my culture. So, the way my parents grew up, how do you understand being Filipino and living in America?
So, after finding success and a Michelin star with Japanese restaurant Cadence, he followed his heart, opening a Filipino restaurant, Kaya.
Family, togetherness, love, and then flavor. We love a lot of flavor.
A big part of AAPI culture is around food, right?
And food blogger and author Ricky Lee says when this food is shared, it becomes a vehicle for understanding.
This is one of the oldest Vietnamese restaurants in town, Little Saigon.
Just walk the streets of the City Beautiful's Mills 50 district, brimming with diverse Asian fare.
10, 20 years ago, you just had your normal Vietnamese bowl of noodle soup or something like that, and now you've got Filipino modern cuisines, transcending barriers through taste.
Cultures colliding here.
It's just kind of a showing of how welcoming our community is to AAPIs.
Back at Kaya, which means capable in Tagalog.
Part of restaurants, what makes restaurants good is having a soul.
Chef Lo says you'll find nods to his business partner, Jamie's family. His own?
My dad is the cook in the family.
Everywhere.
I was probably around 4 years old, but it's just a picture of me and my dad.
Family, not confined to these walls.
Yeah, you want to show them your garden?
But living across that same parking lot, short steps to a special space.
This is good. This is good mulch.
Much of this used at Kaya.
Banana, Avocado, our green onions.
Lo's aging father tends to this garden. Lo cares for him.
Everybody's trying to build a legacy and try to make their parents proud. My dad leaves his legacy through me, and then I leave it through my kids, and hopefully that continues on.